Welcome to Amazing Business Radio with best-selling author and customer service and business expert, Shep Hyken. Shep will talk with some of the smartest thinkers in business to help make you more successful in your professional and personal life. This is Amazing Business Radio with Shep Hyken.
Hello, everybody. It's Shep Hyken here. We're back with another episode of Amazing Business Radio, and today we're going to talk with Tifenn Dano Kwan, the CMO of Amplitude. You'll learn about Amplitude in just a few minutes, but it's all about technology and AI and incredible things that are happening in that world. So if that's something you're interested in, and you should be, make sure you stay tuned for this episode. Tifenn's mission is to shape the future of work with superior digital experiences, great teams, and technologies that customers love. And isn't that what a great customer experience is all about? Her background is in marketing, but so much of it does cross over into all of customer experience. Before we get into the interview, quick announcement. If you've got a story that you want to share, of course, a customer service or experience story, I want to hear about it. And if you've got a question, please ask. All I ask is that you reach out to me on any of the social channels. And if it is a question, use the hashtag Ask Shep. I'll either answer the question right there in that channel. Perhaps I'll do it on this show or maybe in my newsletter, the Shepherd Letter. And you could subscribe to that. It comes out weekly. It doesn't cost anything. And just go to hyken.com, www.hyken, Hyken.com. While you're there, check out my annual customer service and experience research. Also, no charge for that. You'll get all kinds of stats, facts, and findings to help you make better customer-focused decisions. All right, let's jump into our interview. Tifenn, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here, Shep.
I'm excited to talk about Amplitude, and we're going to learn your background. Really lends itself nicely to the idea of what's new and exciting and really up to date, maybe even futuristic in the whole idea of customer experience. I know a lot of what you do has to do with AI, and we can talk about that as well. But before we jump into this, I've looked at your LinkedIn profile. I've looked at your bio. I've read all about you. Why don't you give us a quick little version of who Tifenn Dano Kwan is?
All right. I come from a small town on the west coast of France. And I've had a long time dream since I was a teenager to make it to the United States. Very cliche, but that followed me throughout my entire career. And I brought my career to the international markets. I worked for various tech companies in Canada, Australia, Singapore, and I finally made it to the US in 2011.
Wow. So you've been here about 13 years and you're on the West Coast in San Francisco. How long have you been with Amplitude?
3 years.
Great. And tell me, all the roles in marketing primarily?
All the roles in my career were in marketing. I fell into the pot, as we say, in my hometown. I fell in love with marketing from the get-go, I would say, and decided to pursue this career specifically in tech and in B2B SaaS.
Right. So Amplitude, let's talk about what Amplitude is. Now, in doing my research, I looked up Amplitude. What does the company do? And first thing I did is I got to the definition of Amplitude. The definition of amplitude, at least according to Google, is the maximum displacement or distance a point on a vibrating body or wave moves from its resting or equilibrium position. I have no idea what that means, but it has to do something with your company name.
It does, but you could say in some way that our mission is to measure the vibrancy of customers across the world. Okay. It is not exactly our mission, but just to play on words with the actual term of the company, we're not too far. We help basically our customers build better products and digital experiences.
And both the B2B and B2C, or primarily just B2B?
Across both B2B and B2C.
Great, great. And so how do you do that?
Well, we want to create vibrancy. Let's talk about that topic, right?
Okay.
Vibrant customer experiences. This is so critical. We equip our customers with what we call the user behavioral graph. This is a capability that is uniquely built by Amplitude that allows us to really track user behavior online. What that user behavior gives us is insights. Where our users go, which page they click through, why do they drop off, why do they return? When we turn those insights into actions and decisions, that's where we can help companies develop and drive growth. That's what we do.
All on their website and e-commerce platforms.
So a lot of our customers are e-commerce customers, but you can think of multiple, I would say, use cases, but it mostly happens online. So that's why the name of our platform is called Digital Analytics,
Yep.
because it's predicated on being able to measure, I would say, the behavior changes of users when they navigate through multiple surfaces online.
Yep. I'm going to go back to 2013 when you first came to the US. And the reason I'm choosing that date is because around that time, I was starting to learn about AI. IBM, I would start attending Watson conferences, which Watson's their AI, I don't know what you call it, persona, if you will, which is a pretty cool name, I think. So I was learning all about AI, and I would just love your perspective over the last dozen years. How have you seen the digital experience transform to what it is today? I want to, the capability. I'd love you to share your thoughts on that. I'd love you to share with, even if you can think about how much it was back then to do what we can do today. It cost so much more. I mean, it's amazing capability and how the cost has been lowered in order to get there. Just a little bit of history. I think that would be very interesting.
Yeah. I would say this is one of those inflection points. In my career, since I started, I've seen 3 inflection points. One was basically the web era, when we started to really see the emergence of e-commerce, web platforms as a new channel of interaction to do business. This was a big one. Then in the specific world of tech and digital, there was the era of SaaS companies, software as a service, and cloud. These were very big inflection points. Why do I call these inflection points? Because the entire industry went and transformed. AI is a new inflection point, and it's a big one. It's, to me, is as revolutionary as the invention of web. It's going to fundamentally change how we do business, and it's going to also fundamentally change our lives.
How do you see it transforming the customer experience?
That is a big question. Thank you for asking it. Obviously, this is one that is at the core of pretty much every marketer on the planet. Think of it this way. Why do we want AI to change the customer experience? Why does it matter? What does it bring?
Are you asking me, or is that a rhetorical question?
It's a rhetorical question. I think the goal of AI is to remove friction, is to help any company in the world deliver delightful, seamless, and outcome-driven experiences. Removing friction, in my view, should be at the core of what AI can bring to a business. A business who has a goal towards supporting customers and creating superior experiences for those customers. How do we use AI to remove that friction? In my view, is one of the core hypothesis of the many use cases we're starting to see here happen in this industry.
So, I get that AI is going to remove the friction. Give me an example specifically, how a use case, if you will. I would imagine I want to be guided. I'm a customer. How is you using AI going to make my experience better and easier, removing friction?
So I'm sure you're using software, you're buying software, you're basically uploading the software, creating a desktop version of your software, or you are downloading the app, but you have to go through an onboarding
Right.
process, right?
Hmm.
And quite often this onboarding process can be difficult. It's great and you're lucky if it's seamless, but in many cases, the onboarding is bumpy, takes time. And one of the best use cases we're seeing right now is how agents or AI capabilities can really accelerate the onboarding of any software solution that you can find in the market. So that's going to be a very big use case in my view that agents or AI capabilities can improve is how do we make the onboarding of customers into any platform, any solution, seamless, frictionless, delightful, and fast,
So when
right?
you refer to agents, you're referring to a digital AI agent, not a human
Correct.
agent, right? And so I'm just in my mind, I'm thinking of recently I went to install some software,
Mhm.
had a problem, couldn't figure out, had to start all over again. And if I had a good AI experience, it would be analyzing what's going on in the background, causing this little bump in the road for me and fixing it without me even knowing it's happening.
Ideally, that's what you want. You want almost this to be invisible to you so that you don't even have to do anything about it. It resolves the issue before it actually happens to you. That's the best case scenario, isn't it? And you can even correlate it to the reduction in resolution cases, for example. If a company is saying, since I've deployed my agents, I've seen a dramatic reduction in issue resolution logs or things like these. But you could also have a more, I would say, front office situation where you have an AI chat live agent who is going to work directly with you. It's just no longer a human. It's going to be more like a prompted AI agent who's going to work real time with you in the context of the experience or the issue that you're facing.
And are we talking about texting or typing? Or are we doing it voice?
I can imagine any kind of surface to work
Mhm.
depending on the user preferences.
Yep. That's great. That's great. All right. Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, what I want to get into is personalization, which I know is a big topic that you're interested in. I also want to talk about voice of the customer strategy, how you gather the insights that you're getting from how your customers moving around on websites or any type of behavior and putting them for the benefit of the customer and for the benefit of the company, because when that happens, 1 + 1 equals much more than two. All right, everybody, we're talking with Tifenn Dano Kwan. She is the CMO at Amplitude. This is Amazing Business Radio. We'll be right back. Shep Hyken here with an offer that won't cost you a cent. You may have heard me talk about my annual customer service and experience research. We've surveyed thousands of customers matching the U.S. Census for age, gender, ethnicity, and geography, and we find out what customers love, hate, and want in a customer experience. What's the number one customer experience that almost every customer desires? What makes them come back? What makes them leave? Why won't they fill out surveys? What do they think of AI? Well, these questions and more are answered in the research. You can download the full report by going to hyken.com and clicking on the research tab at the top. Like I said, it won't cost you a cent, but it may make you or save you thousands and thousands of dollars when you understand your customers' expectations. Again, the website is www.hyken.com.
You're listening to Amazing Business Radio with best-selling author and customer service and business expert, Shep Hyken.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking with Tifenn Dano Kwan, who's the CMO of Amplitude. We're talking about how AI is really a crossover. You mentioned three things. You mentioned the web and web and all the e-commerce things that are happening there. I think if you could go all the way back to the microchip, which I think is what really makes all of this stuff happen. Okay, and then you talked about SaaS solutions. You talked about cloud. Now, was SaaS and cloud in the same one, or are those separate?
Well, that's interesting because I started in SaaS and it became the cloud,
So
right?
they are kind of merged together. And then the
Now
third big
exactly.
Yeah, the third big crossover is where we are here with AI. And I think to your point, we've scratched the surface maybe a little bit. we're going to see some of the most amazing things happen. And hey, why don't I get this question out of the way? I ask a lot of very smart people who are involved with AI this question. This isn't on any of the prep work. Do you think AI is going to kill the contact center and take away all the jobs, or what's going to happen in the future for employment?
That's a thought leadership question. I think it would certainly affect a couple of core areas. It must be in the mind of every single CFO on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
It's more a matter of when. It's not a if, in my view, it's a when. We're going to see some consolidations. We're going to see clearly some jobs, in my view, affected by it. But we're going to see a lot of new jobs being created. So in the end, I think the equation will be beneficial. I'll give you a very tangible example. It's happening right now in one of the most AI-oriented company that's making the news right now. It starts with O and finishes with AI. They have actually hired a lot of SEO people. So interestingly enough, a lot of people think that this is the death of SEO because of the rise of LLMs. In fact, it's not true. It's the rise of a new channel of, top of funnel, if you think purely of it.
Right.
So even one of the most consequential AI companies in the world keeps hiring more people to actually support an old channel of acquisition, as we would say. So I actually really think that in the end, we're going to see pluses and minuses. We're gonna see some jobs who are going to be absorbed by AI where they should be, because the AI capability makes it simpler and better for the customer. But you're going to see a whole array of new jobs who are going
Right.
to happen. And that's what I'm excited about, is the
Yeah.
renewal of the workforce and bringing that workforce to the new era.
Yeah, two things there. You mentioned SEO, search engine optimization. By the way, when you said LLM, that's large language models, which is the ability to communicate like human-like with a machine. So what's happening is that for those that aren't aware, you're no longer to be looking for keywords. If you are a marketer, you're trying to load up your website with all the right words that people search on. Now you're going to have to load up with great content, huge amounts of content to separate yourself. A word or a phrase isn't going to do it. It's, I need proof on your website that you are a thought leader in a website, more or less. I think that's a good way to describe it.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. The other thing you mentioned about jobs, I just read an article. I can't remember the name of the company, but the executive who they quoted was 2 years ago. He said, "I'm done hiring people. We've got AI. This is amazing. We're going to be lean, mean." And guess what? He goes, "Now I'm hiring more people than ever because I realize we need them." You're right about different jobs. When I always use this example on the show, when Barclays Bank in the 60s came out with the ATM, somebody said, "End of tellers in the bank. You walk into a bank, no more bank tellers." Every bank I go to has tellers and an ATM. So I don't think this is going to kill jobs the way people think it will, but you're right. It will change them dramatically. All right. I want to talk about personalization for a few minutes. This is really a great opportunity. AI can spot trends, can match customers up to what these trends are, and really create an experience where that customer says, "How do they know so much about me?" And so go ahead and talk to us a little bit about personalization.
Well, it is the marketer's dream, right? To have personalization at scale, what we called hyper-personalization.
Yes.
The more in touch with the customer we are, the more likely we are to drive conversions, which is the job of the marketer. Attract, convert, capture, and create demand and engagement. So of course, personalization is really big. It's not new though. A lot of companies have started their journey on personalization a long time ago, especially e-commerce companies, very good at this. And there's different types of personalization. But I think that the two things in my view that are really important to consider in the AI era is you're only as good as data. So you have to have really a solid foundation of trusted data. And that is going to be an enormous challenge for any functional leader who wants to use AI. Because if you actually have an agent or an AI capability that's using the wrong data, guess what you're going to get as an output? The wrong output. And it's going to mislead you, and more importantly, it's going to mislead your customers, which is you don't want that.
Yeah, you'll lose customers rather than the purpose of that is making them feel like you know who they are.
That is correct.
Yep.
The second one, and I think it's becoming a big theme right now, especially in the Bay Area, is the authentic level, the authenticity, right, of your messaging, of your experiences and your interactions. And there's the big battleground right now between what we call the AI native companies and the SaaS world, right? Where you start seeing the AI native companies saying, we know how to build AI and we are authentically there. And the SaaS world is trying to catch up with us. And the one company who knows how to crack the code around authentic experiences will probably have an edge, and I think is really hard. But to stay authentic is to be human in a way.
Yep. Are there any companies that you can think of that come to mind that are doing this well right now?
I mean, you have a lot of those AI. I know a few who are probably not doing it well and have been on the limelight for that reason. You don't want to be there and too so strong on the marketing front of it that it feels disingenuous. But Decagon comes to mind. They're a great company and very visible, lovable. Cursor, all those companies who are born in the era of AI, I think inherently an edge because they started to build AI. They didn't transform the company into AI. They built AI. They shaped it. So
And that's probably an advantage.
it is.
Yep.
And they're probably technically more authentically grounded on the AI code. You have to think about it, right? Well, SaaS companies or the more traditional companies, they have to learn and they have to really adapt to it. So I think the product world, the engineering world is really looking at that right now, is what is the degree of authenticity that you can bring to your experience based on the technical knowledge you have of the tool. So you can't dissociate the technical aspect of AI with the actual experience and the benefit for the customer. A lot of the times we say, stay away from features and functionalities. Your job is to focus on value and outcomes. I will contend that this line is getting blurred right now. You have to not only show technical prowess so that you are credible at creating AI, and in addition to that, you need to also build outcomes. And right now, it seems that the market is embracing the technical prowess of AI a little bit more than the outcomes. But I'm sure that Wall Street is going to catch up very soon with that trend in the coming months.
Yeah, this is fascinating to me. I have to wonder, authenticity. Does that mean we're transparent when we're saying, hey, we're using AI to make your experience better?
Yes,
Do you
absolutely.
think people will get scared of that, or will they embrace it?
I think they will embrace it because there's nothing more scary than not knowing what's cooking under the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Want to know. You see, you want to see. You're like, it's like anything in life. If you don't see what's happening, you're starting to build monsters in your head and it gets dramatic. But if there is some level of transparency in the process, you feel reassured because you can see it, you can understand it. So I think this is where the authenticity lies, is exposing the process of building AI, the process of transforming a company into AI. I think this is amazing. And for marketers, it's actually a unique opportunity to show AI in the making.
Wow, interesting. All right, we're just about out of time. I warned you the question was coming. I'm looking for your one last final nugget of wisdom that you want to share related to this whole customer experience and AI thing that we've been talking about for the last almost 20, 25 minutes.
Embrace what's next.
And what do you think is next?
We are going to see a lot of evolution in the world of AI. I encourage all my peers and colleagues to just embrace it. And don't be afraid to fail and experiment and test. There is a pattern in the AI world where you identify, you diagnose, you process, you test, you repeat. It's going to be a lot of repeats and a lot of failures. And I think we need to embrace that new way of working.
And I think today's failures are faster. You can fail faster.
Yes.
You can fail less expensively than maybe in the past.
That's the goal.
Nobody wants to fail, but the only way to go forward is to try new things. And if it doesn't work, well, you got to be smart enough to move on. And today, I think with the capability that we have, we can do it faster, quicker, cheaper, and get to a better result overall that much quicker. Well, Tifenn, thank you so much for being on the show. This was great. I mean, I wrote down quite a few notes. I know I'm going to just say it right up front. This is probably a little bit more higher level and technical than we've had in the past, okay, in many of our shows. But I think that the way you explained it had clarity, and I think people can embrace the understanding of why we have something really exciting to look forward to. So thank you for sharing your insight with us today.
Thank you so much, Shep.
All right, everybody, that wraps it up. Another episode of Amazing Business Radio. We will be back next week with another great interview. And until that time, this is Shep Hyken reminding you to always be amazing.